In the autumn of 2018, in the remote town of Oakhaven, Oregon, the Reed family moved into an old farmhouse nestled deep in the woods. Arthur Reed, a writer, was raising his two daughters alone after his wife's passing in an accident, 17-year-old Clara and 10-year-old Sophie. Shortly after they settled in, strange events began to unfold in the wooden house. At first, it was minor things, like scratching sounds from within the timber walls, porch lights that flickered on and off, and small items in the kitchen being slightly rearranged. The family dismissed it as the quirks of an old house, perhaps rodents. Then, things escalated. One stormy night, Clara and Sophie were playing with a ghost hunting app on a phone for fun. Their laughter faded as the app suddenly crackled with three distorted words, "In the walls." A moment later, they heard three loud, deliberate scratches echo from just behind their bedroom wall. In the following nights, things worsened. Food disappeared from the refrigerator, the TV would switch on to static in the middle of the night, and Arthur began to feel an unnerving sensation of being watched from the edge of the forest. But nothing could have prepared them for what came next. One evening, Arthur returned from a trip into town to find the house in a state of eerie silence. The house was freezing cold, even though the fireplace was still lit. An old, tinny piano tune crackled from a vintage radio. The TV was on, its screen filled with white snow. When Arthur went upstairs to the attic, he was met with a horrifying sight. Standing in the middle of the room was a teenage boy he didn't recognize, wearing a tattered prom dress, his face smeared with garish makeup, and holding a small carpenter's hammer. It was Julian Croft, who had been living within the walls of the Reeds' farmhouse. He had broken into their barn months earlier after developing an obsession with Clara from watching her walk in the woods. He had carved small peepholes into the wooden walls to watch Clara and her family. Julian moved through the walls and crawl spaces like a phantom, only emerging when no one was home. All the noises, the missing food, and the feeling of being watched had been caused by him. Arthur managed to escape with his daughters and call the sheriff. When deputies searched the house, they found Julian hiding in a cramped wall cavity behind a closet, curled up and silent. They discovered crude tunnels carved out behind the walls, complete with old blankets, canned food wrappers, and expertly drilled peepholes. Croft was arrested but was later transferred to a low-security psychiatric facility. Not long after, he escaped, broke into a nearby cabin, and brutally murdered an elderly couple. He was eventually recaptured and sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. The Reed family never returned to the farmhouse again.